So what you're going to want to do is you're going to open up AutoCAD. Once you open it up, you should be at this screen. You're going to want to go to the new up here, or sorry, you're going to want to go to the open right here in the corner. And then you're going to go to the open the template that I gave you. It's called template 11 by 17. And you're going to click open. Once that opens, you should be here at the screen. So we have our layout 1 and our, layout 2. What this is right here is this is called paper space, and paper space is what's going to be look like it's printed. And then you go to this tab over here, model at the bottom left hand corner. You're going to go to model, and this is where we're actually going to make our drawings. So for our drawings, we want to make sure we get our file set up correctly, and we're going to do that by first typing units. And all you do is type on your keyboard units, click enter. And what we should be in is under type, it should be in architectural. And then if anything looks different, of course, change it, but then click OK. Okay, after that, we're going to go ahead and start making our floor plan. And I'm going to kind of show you how to use other tools along the way. So first we have our line tool. And our line tool, you can just make lines. If you want to make lines for a little bit and play around with it, you can. Notice how the axis is the same thing as on SketchUp. It takes you a straight line up, and then green and red are, up and down. But in this case, we don't have blue because we're not doing 3D. So we're going to go ahead and start with our line. You can go ahead and start anywhere as long as it's in this general location on the right side of the green line, but on top of the red line. So in this little quadrant over here, you're going to go ahead and click, and you're going to want to draw a line straight up. And we're going to go by a floor plan that I gave you. So this wall is going to be 39 feet. And all you have to do is type 3, 9, and then feet, and click enter. So I'm zooming out, and I'm zooming out with oh, probably won't let me zoom out. I'm going to click escape because this is what's going to be left. I haven't clicked anything. You just click escape on your keyboard, and now you can zoom out. Once that's done, we're going to go ahead and do the other line in this general direction to the right. So you're going to click that intersection, and it should snap onto it. You're going to click, and then you're going to put it in the on the green axis. And we're going to go 64 feet. Okay. Now, like I said, you could usually click escape to let it go. Like it would just you would just see your two lines that you made, or you could just keep continuing. So you can go down, and if you hover kind of over this line over here, and I'm just hovering, I haven't clicked anything, it'll kind of bring you to like that intersection where it should be. If you don't want to do that, you could again click 39 feet, and it'll take your line down to 39 feet. So I'm going to click at my 39-foot point, and I'm going to bring it all the way over, and it should snap to that point, and it should enclose your floor plan. To make sure that we have the right dimension for our floor plan, you're going to go to your dimension tool, and it's going to probably look a little different, but we're going to go from one point to the other point. We're going to click, and we're going to bring it up. So again, dimension, click, click, bring it up, and click. So it looks like a line, but there's really a dimension like right here. It's just super small. You can't see it. So you're going to do is you're going to go to escape because look at our mouse. It has like says select objects or specify first extension line origin or it has a command on it. That means we're not just gonna we have to get out of the command that it wants us to do. So we just have to click escape. And now we don't have a command. So now we can start something new. Now we're going to type dim style. It stands for dimension style. And we're just going to go to dim style. If you type dim, you can click your little down arrow and go to dim style and click enter. Once you're here, we're going to go to modify. And here's where we can change our text and our symbols. So we have our lines, we have our arrows, our text. This is where we're going to get our text height. So here at your text height, we're going to go ahead and put at 4 inches. Remember, hold down shift to get the little 2 ticks for the 4 inches. And then make sure that your primary unit format is an architectural. And then that'll be it. So just go ahead and click OK. And now you do have to do set current. So that'll set what you currently already have to change what you just made those edits for. So now when you do the dimensions, you could already see the number without having to go back and change it. Now what we're missing is the little tick marks. You can see how they are there, but they're actually a little bit too small, so we're going to go edit that right now. So to edit it, you're going to go ahead and type dim style again. And now we're going to go to modify, and then you want to go to your symbols and arrows tab. We're going to make sure the arrow size is set at 4 inches. Once it's set at 4 inches, you're going to click OK. And then you want to hit set current, and that'll set your arrows to the 4 inches. And now you can see them. And now again, if you do another dimension line, then they will already show up like that without you having to go change it as well. So now I'm going to go ahead and delete all these dimension lines to show you how to delete. When you click, we click on our left mouse, but this is what happens when you click on a right side of the screen and kind of like, okay, this is what happens when you click like this. So I'm going to click and I'm going to move to the left, or I can move to the right. So you see how there's difference? I'm just going to click and I can move to the left, and I click and I can move to the right. So there's a little bit of a difference for each of those movements. So when you click, you're going to select it like that to select them all. But when you go like this, it only selects one. So you want to go ahead and it matters on the way that you click. We're going to click, I'm going to select them all, and then I can click delete on my keyboard to delete them. I'm going to click Control Z on my keyboard to bring it all back just so we can try a different option. I'm going to go ahead and click, move my mouse to the left to highlight it, right click, and you can click erase. That's another option to erase something. And then again, Control Z is to go back, or you have your little backwards and forwards arrows here. Now what we're going to do is make our 6-inch walls, and we can do that by our offset. What we're going to type is offset, and that's the same in SketchUp except it's a little bit different here, but it is the same command. Offset. You're going to click offset, and now look at the command that it's telling us on our mouse. It says specify the offset distance. So the distance we want is 6 inches because we want our offset of 6 inches for our walls. So we're going to type 6 inches because it says specify a distance, and we're going to click enter. Now our mouse changes and it says select object to offset. So what do we want to offset? We want to offset this line and we want to get another line 6 inches. So I'm going to click it and we have the option to go on this side or this side. So according to our plans, we're going to go on the inside. Okay, so I'm going to click and then you still have the option to continue doing it. So I'm going to click, bring it inside, click, click, bring it inside, click, click, bring it inside, click. Now we're done and I could just click escape on my keyboard to leave that command. Now what we have here is some overlapping lines. So there's a really easy command and it's called the trim tool. That'll trim these lines right here because we just want it continuous. So what we're going to type is trim and then you click enter and it says select objects. So what do we want to trim? Of course, we could zoom in and just select this little one, but if we want to go like continuously instead of having to do trim each time, we're just going to select it all. And remember, I'm going to click and drag to my left side to get my green box and click. Now it says select objects, so I'm going to go in, zoom in with my little scroll thing on my mouse. Sorry. So I selected it. I have to click enter because that's the object that I want. So I selected it. It's highlighted blue. I click enter to make that selection. And then I have to select the object to trim. So, or shift select to extend, but we're not doing that. So I'm going to select the object to trim. And what I want to do is I want to trim, each of the corners. So I'm going to zoom into each of the corners and I'm going to select the object I want to trim. And all I'm doing is clicking. And I'm zooming out on my mouse, zooming in on my mouse to another corner. And I'm going to go do that on each corner. Zoom out and click. If you happen to click off the command, you do have to do the command. So for example, I still haven't done this corner. If I accidentally click escape or something, all I have to do is do it again. Type trim, select the object. So I'm going to click, move my mouse to the left, highlight it. Is it selected? Yes. Enter. Now it says select object to trim, and I want to trim this line and this line. Now once it's done, I could click escape on my keyboard and that's completed. Now what I want to do is start making my interior walls, and my interior walls are going to be based off of my floor plan. So I'm going to go get my line tool, and from this point, going to my left is going to be 14 feet 6 inches. So I'm going to type 14 feet 6 inches, enter. Okay, so I haven't clicked anything. This is just what it leaves me with. Of course, you can click escape, but I'm just going to leave it there because then I would have to go find that line again. Um, you can leave it there. I'm going to show you this example of what happens once I escape, because then how are you going to find the line? You can try it, but this is how it works. So each line, okay, my 14-inch line didn't come all the way over here. So this is one specific line that I made first. And then you can't really find your 14-inch line. What happens is that you would have to okay. I don't know what it was saying, but I believe it was with this line right here. I was saying it's kind of hard to kind of distinguish the lines because you might not know like I left right now and I think I was talking about this line right here, but it was really hard to see. So if you don't remember that you made a line there, it's going to be difficult to see, and multiple lines do mess up your project. So we are at the 14-foot 6 line. So let me go ahead and just start over. All I did was delete it on my keyboard. From this point, I went over here to the left, and I'm going to type 14 feet 6 inches. Now I haven't clicked anything. This is just what's left at the end of my mouse. I do want to go down and I'm going to actually I don't want to go down. Well, I do need to go down, but I don't have that dimension because the next dimension starts at the interior wall. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring that line to the edge of that wall right here. And I'm going to click and it should snap into place. Okay, now if y'all's are not snapping into place, then I suggest that you come down here and check your snap cursor. So this is your little snap cursor settings. It's the little box with the small little square at the end. If you click this little drop down, then you can see where your snaps are. I would suggest keep yours like mine. It gives you the end point, the midpoint, and the center. And you can play around with these later on. Or you can see how you would like to set yours up. But this is definitely the most efficient way to have for sure at least the endpoint, midpoint, and center on. The intersection and extension help as well. Okay, then you can just click off of that. And once we have that little line here, this is where we have our dimensions for. So it goes down 2 feet, 4 feet, and 6 feet. So I'm just going to add that together. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 feet, 6 inches. So from this point, we're going to go down 12 feet, 6 inches. Okay, so we get our line tool. We're going to start here at this point, and we're going to go down 12 feet, 6 inches. So this is how we type inches. So I'm going to do 12 feet dash. You have to do the dash 6 inches. And it'll take you 12 feet, 6 inches. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my right and I'm going to make it snap and end into this point over here. Okay, now before I forget that these lines are over here, I'm just going to go ahead and select that line, which should have been my 14-foot 6-inch line, and delete it. And I know that this one was there, and I'm going to leave that one there because it's going to help me go get my other dimensions. Okay, so that's done. Now I want to go over in the left direction from here. And I want to go 16 feet. So from that point this way, I'm going to go 16 feet and I'm going to click enter. And I haven't clicked anything. I'm just going to drag that mouse up and I'm going to intersect it with the interior wall and click. Okay, now I don't need this, I realize, and I'm just going to click delete. Now we have our interior walls. We are going to need to offset. So this is going to be a plumbing wall, which is going to be 6 inches. This is an interior, 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 and these are going to be 4 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and do offset, enter. And I kept my last distance that I used at 6 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the 6-inch offset first. And again, if it didn't keep your selection as last time, you just type in 6 inches. So make sure yours says 6 inches and click enter. And you are going to want to offset this wall 6 inches, but we're going to go to the inside on this side. And click enter. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and do our 4-inch walls. We're going to type offset. And we're going to do these 4 inches. So we're going to type 4 inches, enter. And we are going to offset these walls. So you can do, you see how they're not one line? You can do one inside. And then you're going to select this one. You're going to go inside. Then you're going to select this one. And we're going to go inside as well. So these are all offset inside. And then click enter. Or escape. You know what? I don't think I showed you that. I've just been saying say escape. Okay, I'm going to kind of show you what I do besides clicking escape. You're just going to click offset and then 4 inches. And kind of once you're done with the command, like you could obviously click escape to exit, or I just right click and enter. I think that's what I do most often. Okay, now that that's done, we can go ahead and trim these access lines like we did last time. You're going to click trim. Now remember how I selected everything? I don't need to select everything because I just need to trim in this general area. So I'm going to click, move my mouse to the left, and that's it. So select objects. These are the objects that I want selected. I'm going to click enter. Okay, now it says select objects to trim. So I'm just going to zoom into the corners and click on what I want to trim. We're going to go ahead and do these as well. Now everything should be pretty streamlined. I'm going to right click and hit enter. That's what I do. You can click escape if you'd like as well. They're both the same thing. Okay. Now before we start doing any details on like doors and windows and stuff, let's go ahead and make sure we have the correct dimensions. So we're going to go ahead and do this dimension line. And our dimensions are from this point to this point. We have 64 feet, which is correct. And now I'm going to go ahead and do this point to our end point. And then we just bring it out and click. And that's 39 feet. So that's correct. Now what we're going to do is just go ahead and measure these to make sure we're correct on them. And what I like about this is because I know SketchUp didn't do this, but what I like to do is kind of hover over this corner right here and kind of bring my mouse hover over to that point. So you see how kind of that green line helps me stay on track. I haven't clicked anything though. I'm going to click here and then I want my dimension to this line right here, the next interior point of the wall. So you see where I'm going to click at that intersection? I'm going to click and then I'm going to go ahead and bring up. Now I'm just going to hover over this middle line, this 64, the side of the 64, and it'll place my dimension line right in the center of that, so they're evenly spaced. Now I can do another dimension by selecting this corner now, and then taking it all the way to the edge. So I'm going to do the outside point of that wall. I'm going to click, I'm going to bring it up. And all I'm going to do is hover my mouse over this little arrow right here until it snaps. That'll line it up perfectly with, and you got to kind of zoom in a lot. That'll line it up perfectly with that one, and you click, and then you can zoom out, and then that looks good. Okay, so we can go ahead and click escape on our keyboard. And now we're going to start talking about layers. So, where are they? Okay, here we are. So if you see this little layers tag, you can go ahead and bring it down. And what we're going to do is we're going to be adding layers. So everything, like everything we've been working on, SketchUp has layers, but it's called tags. They used to be called layers. Adobe Illustrator has layers. Photoshop has layers. So we always work with layers, and it's kind of pretty much similar to everything that we've done. I'm just going to go ahead and oops, don't do that. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to type layers. Oops. We're going to type layers. Sorry, not layers, layer, singular. We're going to go ahead and type layers, and then your layer properties manager should pop up. You can kind of move it off to the side if you want and make mine a little bigger. But anyway, this is what the layers look like. What we're going to do is we can kind of ignore all these for now. What we're going to do is we're going to create a new layer, and that's this little symbol right here with the little firework looking thing. It's called a new layer. So we're going to click it, and we're going to create a new layer. The layer is going to be called walls. Okay. We're also going to create a new layer, and it's going to be called dimensions, or you can just call it dims. So we can go ahead and change the color of the walls, and you're going to pick the exact same color I'm going to have. Um, I guess our walls can stay white, but our dimensions are going to change. Our dimensions are going to be a blue. So the index color is 130, just so you know that you're picking the correct color, and you click OK. Okay, so how do we change things to be onto the dimension layer? You're going to go ahead and select a dimension line. And we're just going to start with that one right now. And then we're going to go to right click and properties. So our little properties tag should show up right now, and you can move this kind of to create your toolbar on the side. You want it higher. Okay, so properties shows us the property of this one specific line or anything that's, highlighted that you have. So you can see that the color is going to be indicated by the layer. So right now, what layer is it on? It's on layer 0. So you can see right here, layer 0. Well, layer 0 is white. So yes, that's why it's white. So what we're going to do is we're going to change not the color, because the color will change as long as we change it by the certain layer. So we're going to change the layer. We're just going to do the drop down, and we're going to put dims for dimensions. Now it has changed color. So same thing, we can go do it for these two. We can click escape, so that goes that one, and I could just select these two at the same time, and then we can go to that layer, and then we can change them to the dimensions layer, and then they will automatically change their color. Okay, and don't forget to do it to this one as well. The layer needs to be dims. Okay, so everything that you need to make sure is that your layers are the blue color, and that blue color is 130, and you do that by clicking the little color box, and your color should be 130 selected. You click OK, your dimensions are layers, your walls are white. Okay, that should be enough for our model making right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go look at layout 1. And what layout 1 is our paper space. So our paper space is, you're just going to have this box right here, and yours probably looks somewhat like this, okay? What this box is this is a 11 by 17 sheet of paper, and if you were to print, this is what you would see. So this is called a viewport, is our blue box, and a viewport is a view into what we have in our model. So what you want to do is make this box bigger, and what you're going to do is you're going to escape, make sure there's no commands. What I want you to do before you click anything is you want to zoom in and out. I don't want you to be completely on the paper, like to where all you see is white, because then you're going to get stuck in the viewport. You have to kind of zoom out and make sure you have some gray around you. You're going to need to double click. Now once you double click, now it's like you're kind of in the um in the model mode, which is like the mode we were at before. So you can zoom in and out. This is not where we change anything. This is just where we get a view. To answer your question, yes, you can change things, but that's not the right way to do it. So you can zoom in and out. What we're going to do is I'm going to take off the little grid mode. That makes it a lot easier to see. And you're just going to place your model. How I grab it is I click down my little scrolly thing that lets me zoom in and out, and I click it and I kind of move it. So you just got to go place your floor plan in there. Once it's there, you can double click out. So now you can see that that's what's on your paper. And that's kind of where we're going to go with this. That's how you make construction documents. That's what we're going to see when you make construction documents. So that's the whole point of that. Okay, so for this, that's all we're going to go ahead and do. To refer back to your model, all you have to do is go back to this model tab. Now I'm going to show you how to save. Later on, we'll be submitting things through your papers, through your layouts, through your templates. But for right now, we're not going to do that. It's just so you know how to switch from paper to model. Um, and again, layout is paper. That's what I mean. So right now, all you're going to do is click this little Save As button. And the only reason we're going to be doing Save As is because you opened a template that I gave you. So you're going to Save As, and you don't want to save it as template. You're going to go ahead and call it Studio Apartment AutoCAD. Make sure you save it under your ID. For this instance, it's my name, and you want to save it in your AutoCAD folder or your architecture folder or whatever, and you're going to go ahead and click Save. Okay, now it's saved. Now you can go ahead and exit. Next time you open up your file, all you have to do is click Save, and that's because you're going to save it under the Studio Apartment AutoCAD. So it's just going to keep on overwriting that. But make sure if I'm telling you to like save it every day, well then Save As makes a new file. Save overwrites the file that you originally had, and Save As creates a new file. Okay, so now it's saved, you can go ahead and exit, and that's it.